Noach leaves the Teva, and the Torah tells us how the first thing he did is he plants a vineyard, and he has grapes. The grapes grew, and from the grapes he makes wine, drinks the wine, he becomes drunk. Vayiskal b'seich olay, he terribly shames himself, embarrasses himself in the tent, and Chum sees it. Chum sees what's happening. What does Chum do right away? He runs out, starts announcing to everybody, "Oh, you'll never believe what Papa's doing. Papa's in the tent. He's naked. It's just terrible. You got to see what's going on over there." Shem and Yafes, they take a blanket, Simla, and they walk backwards and they cover their father. Interestingly, when the pasuk says Pasuk Chav Gimel, "Vayikach Shem v'Yafes es Simla," Rashi points out it's in the singular. Vayikach, and he took. Even though we're talking about Shem and Yafes together, it's in the singular. Vayosimu, and they placed the blanket. Says Rashi, it's from Chazal. Vayikach, because Shem was the first one, he initiated the process. Right away, he said, "We got to cover. We got to figure out how to minimize the shame of our father." Yefes saw what Shem was doing, and he joined them, and they went together, and they did what they were supposed to do. Rashi brings also that each of the three sons, there was consequences to their actions. Shem, that he was the one who initiated the process, so he got this mitzvah of tzitzis. His children will have a special clothing. He wanted to clothe his father, so the children will have special clothing, tzitzis. Yefes also did proper, therefore he will be zeicha that his descendants from the nation of Gog, even after a war, when it wasn't so simple to bury them, HaKadosh Baruch Hu promises they will get the proper burial, and they won't be dishonored by lying without being buried. That's the descendants of Yafet, descendants of Chum. The Pasuk says in Yeshaya that the king of Ashur led them into Golos, led them into Mitzrayim and Cush, the descendants of Chum, naked and barefoot, totally embarrassed, humiliated, as they had to go into Golos in such a humiliating way. Stephen Weil from the OU, he says in the name of Rav Soloveitchik a little bit more, a deeper understanding of the three things that happened, the three items that Chazal point out that happened to the descendants of Shem, descendants of Chum, and descendants of Yafes. Noach definitely made a mistake, but he's Noach Ish Tzaddik. He's a righteous man. He's a man who walks in the path of Hashem. He's the only family that was saved from the terrible tragedy of the flood because of his level of serving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then he made a mistake. One mistake, obviously it's a humiliating mistake, but to define his whole life by that mistake is obviously a terrible error. Chum was somebody who was always looking for finding that point, the weak point of humiliation in the otherwise perfect and righteous people. Noach, he knew Noach was a righteous person. So what's he doing now? He's going and he's spreading the news, gleefully spreading this rechilus, this lashon hara about his father. That's Chum. Chum has the tendency to always magnify the humiliation as much as possible. He gleefully is joyous in the downfall and the humiliation of others. That's Chum. So he also, when his descendants have to go into Galus, will be done in a humiliating form. Shem and Yafes, each one had a little bit of a difference, says Rav Soloveitchik. Shem, the first thought was, I got to do something to stop the humiliation of my father. I don't have to tell other people. Right now, I got to do something. He grabs the blanket, Vayikach, he himself grabs the blanket, and he starts right away coming up with a solution to this problem. He is internally, says Rav Soloveitchik, ethical. He has internal ethics. What's the tzitzis? The tzitzis is something which, yes, part of the tzitzis is shown. We have the tzitzis, the strings that are out, but the beged, the actual garment that we put the tzitzis on, are hidden under our garments. We don't wear it. Yeah, during davening we put on the talis, but the talis cotton is always under clothing, under a jacket, under a shirt, depending on which community you're from. But it's not out in the open. This is symbolizing that Shem's deep-rooted personal and private ethics is what's supposed to guide him to make the proper decisions and create solutions to the problems that they encounter. Yafes also made the right choice, but only after being motivated by peer pressure. He saw that Shem did. He said, oh, that looks very good. I think that I should do that too. I don't want to be like Chum. I want to be like Shem. He was motivated by Shem, and he made the right choice. And then he joined Shem in this venture of covering the embarrassment, humiliation of their father. Therefore, they get public public recognition that when the bare minimum honor of one person to another is burying him, not leaving him out, chas v'sholom, after a person is dead. It's the minimum honor that we can give to a person who died, to bury him. And the HaKadosh Baruch Hu promises Yefes, he's not at the level of shame, but he does have a right and he does have a privilege of having the minimum honor given from one person to another, that his descendants are merited to be buried in an honorable fashion. Good Shabbos. Please don't forget to subscribe. You'll get the video every week by subscribing. Put a like. Thank you very much. Good Shabbos.